Hi, welcome to Self Generated. My name's Steve. I'm the host and creator of this podcast, web series, show, whatever you want to call it, and we're exploring the ideas of perception. Now, what do I mean by perception? I mean how you see, hear, taste, touch, experience anything. Your salience, and you experience emotions, pain, pleasure, these things that come to whatever it is that's you and your attention. That there's something, a way in which that really for sure works, and then there's ways in which we for sure don't work. But the problem is that I have a pretty good idea of how we do work. It's kind of counterintuitive to how we think we work. And that's the point of this particular series, this particular junction of the series on perception, is that I'm pretty sure, at least I haven't found a better way, to really unveil actual how we think, how we work, how we process things that is so clear that it's pretty hard to deny versus any other way you can explore it. Meaning that, for example, when you think of visual perception, are you seeing me 100% as a reflection of reality? Do you feel that because you're not in the room with me, and since the light that bounced off my face just now went into a camera, not your eye, that you didn't experience me in reality? Well, either way, it's kind of up to your own interpretation. Because when I want to go over, or what I'm going to go over right now, is that even if you're standing right there where the camera is, right here, that the light coming in off of my face into your eye is still hitting your retina. It's being converted to an electrical chemical signal, being sent into the brain on an unlabeled signal, and the brain is in the darkness of the confines of the skull. And the only thing it has reference to, since that's not labeled, is the history of what those signals have been in the past. So it doesn't have any difference between the signals in your touch, your taste, your sense, your sight. Somehow the brain really just handles all these signals and interprets them. But here's the catch, right? Just like in sight or if sound, when it hits your cochlea, it's a little size of the pea with 10,000 hairs, and it moves and it turns into a signal, and then you experience sound. You know, where anywhere in that does that feel to you that that is 100% reflection of the universe? What I mean, do you feel that you trust your perceptions, and your perceptions, how you see, hear, taste, touch, your experiences of the world, are those direct reflections of what's happening in reality, in the real world? Are they one to one? Is it perfect? Well, most people don't even think about it. They go, yeah, I see. I mean, what do you mean? I can't believe what I see. What are you saying here? Right? It gets this black and white, or, well, I'm saying you believe it's 100% reality. Or if you believe it's 100% reality, you're fucked. It's not. It can't be. I already explained how the idea of that it's converted to signals. That all light that's coming into a room, if you could see all the light that was in this room, and I'm not talking about just visual light, I'm talking about infrared, I'm talking about microwave, I'm talking about X-ray, gammas, I'm talking about all the Wi-Fi and all the fucking cell phone signals. If you could see that stuff, you'd be blind. You don't perceive that, so you're not seeing that part of reality. But even the parts of reality that you believe you see, color in the visual spectrum, color isn't really a thing. If aliens were to come down and you were to say, hey, alien, we speak the same language, somehow they do, hey, yeah, we speak the same language, and you say, hey, hand me that red thing, they wouldn't necessarily know, because red is not necessarily universal to the universe. It's not an actual aspect of anything other than our unique perception. Maybe we might share perceptions with other animals or similar perceptions. It's not that color is not useful, but it's used in different ways for different animals, and it's not this thing in the universe like we might think, because our perceptions are not 100% reflections of reality. They're reflections of what we believe is going on. They're reflections of the sensory signals coming in versus what we believe is coming in. And that sounds counterintuitive. That can actually even create what I call the error signal, that feeling of like, hey, what the fuck is this guy talking about? That experience is active inference in action. That is your experience of what you believe to be true being challenged. And that idea, what do you do with that idea, defines you. Most people are going to turn this off. They're going to say I'm an asshole. They're going to do all these things that negate me, therefore negate the message, right? Versus update the model, or just figure out that the message doesn't work. Like literally rationally analyze and take it apart. Because we don't really act like that, especially not on a daily basis, especially just regular people. We do not act like that. But you know what? Society is based on the idea that we do. Economics. Every person's a rational actor making their own rational decisions in every purchase. It doesn't work that way. The justice system. that you can testify that you know what you saw with 100% certainty, that person can even die by that decision. And that, yes, I'm not saying that you throw out the whole justice system. I'm saying that, well, wait a second, maybe that's not necessarily true. Maybe if people understood that our perceptions were not direct reflections of reality, that the little old lady that saw the person from 600 yards away without her glasses on would be less likely to be listened to, that there'd be a little bit more care taken into what is done when it comes to witness testimony and different things. Maybe the system would have to change. But that's neither here nor there. It doesn't matter. We're not here to fix those problems, but we, a lot of times, end up not looking at the nature of things because of the implications. And part of the implications is that you would have to change how you understand the world, how you understand yourself, how you understand your experience of the world. And at the core of this particular series on perception, that's what I really want to focus on and explore, is that I'm not here to make you feel bad. I'm not here to scaremonger you. I'm not here to make you think that you're the aerials to the cosmos. I'm not here to make you think that you're purely just a computational cold machine. I'm here to say that whatever will you have is slightly different, and to really exert it, you got to let go of stories that just simply aren't true and aspects of reality that just can't work in the way that we think they work, and that there's tons of evidence for that, but we don't act like that in any way, but it's because of what we do with the signal. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It keeps us locked in. The whole reason the system works is it's self-perpetuating, but even if it's going in the wrong fucking direction. And so the reality of all this is that you seeing me, your experience of seeing me versus the mechanics of seeing me versus what you should see me as, if I bring up that image, this is what the image of the light coming in through your eye would be. It's not what you experience, is it? It's because your experience is not the direct reflection of reality. It's not you or whatever it is that is you sitting in a throne in your head watching a movie screen theater experience of what's happening in the universe. It is generated, not unlike software, not unlike when you turn on your Xbox, and it is based off of what you have interpreted and encoded throughout the totality of your life without even knowing. Do you see the implications that can have? Do you understand how that might work? Now we're going to go step by step, each individual perception, right? But that I just showed vision. When we show optical illusions, like the checker shadow illusion, it looks like there's different grays, right? I put up the bar in one individual gray, but you perceive two separate grays. Why? Because you don't perceive reality. You perceive what you believe to be reality, what you want to be reality. And things have shadows. It doesn't matter what it is. We are not built to see reality as is. We're built to interpret it. If we're actually going to figure out what reality is, then you technically especially need to be social animals. Because think about this. You're not meant to figure everything out, know everything. And in fact, if you really look at how the processes are, it's kind of dumb to think of it that way. It's childish. But it's how we are raised, how the roles and rules that are written. You need to have that guy, that person, that one person, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. Versus to truly see reality, you need different perspectives. And you alone, you're limited. You can only have one perspective. But I'm going to finish off with this because we really get into it in each individual episode on the perceptions. But that every single perception you take in, every sense, the touch, it's converted to a signal. The taste converted to a signal. Auditory, it's converted to a signal. The fact that you can hear my voice and you understand what I'm saying versus a foreign language, which would just sound like noise, is because you have a prediction, an understanding, an anticipation, a model of what it is. And it's not that you hear it and you transcribe it and you interpret it, it's that you just experience it. And that all that layered together only really works when you break it down through the understanding of a predictive mind, a modeled mind, not a reactive mind, not a mind that's just taking action after the fact. It is a part of the process. It is a part of the generation, the holodeckness of your perceptions. And that's not to remove authenticity. That's not to make you feel bad. That's not to undermine your take of reality. That is to tune it closer to what it fucking actually is. Because a lot of our suffering, I believe, comes from just the differential. because that's actually how error signal would work. And that fundamentally, we each individually are not the center of the universe. And that's one of the problems. Like, obviously, it's kind of a daycare type of, truism, like that you are not the center of the universe. It's to get you to remind you that there's perspective, that there's other people, that there's other things going on. Because honestly, once one takes in that perspective and updates their models and learns and lives that way, they feel less inclined to be in stress because they have perspective. They understand that this is small stuff, and they don't sweat the small stuff, so forth, so on. What I'm trying to get at is that we may individually not be the center of the universe, but we are, in fact, the center of our own universe. If you don't get that, hang in there. The universes are shared space reality. Our universes are consciousness. You can't jump into my head. I can't jump into your head. There's a lot of implications to that, nor should I. Should I jump in? Even if I had the ability, should I be able to jump into your head, change what you think, do one of those things? No, it's immoral. We can't share that space. That's it's your own little universe. I can't fuck with it outside of doing things in the outside world to fuck with your space. That's you. My space is my space. One of the problems in reality is that the only way we can share those spaces is through complex things like language and sharing of information, but in no way, shape, or form is that a direct reflection of what's going on in my universe. It's an interpretation, just like my experiences are interpretations of the signals of what's coming in from outside. And that I just can't help. I can be as articulate as I want, I can do anything I want, but I can never, ever get you into my universe, nor can I enter into your universe. And there's something to that. That's important. That's unique. That's maybe all that is us. But the point is that we have this shared space that is really hard to manage and maintain and really understand without a clearer view of what's actually happening. Because we're creatures of story. It's not to downplay us. It's not to make us lesser. It's because that's how we fucking work through active inference. That's how we experience things. That's why we're driven by things. And that it starts with our perceptions. That they're not windows to the universe. They're windows to your inner universe. What you think is true. What is most important to you. How do you think what comes to your attention comes about? And then if you don't understand it, that's fine. Somebody else does. And they will commodify it. How the fuck do you think social media works? How do you think advertising works? How do you think taste works when it comes to the quality of the food that you eat? Because they know the things that trigger the senses of sensation of satisfaction. And that works perfectly well because we are not meant to take in the real world as is. We're meant to process through our interpretations, especially through each other. And then when we're all saying, this is all great, we can do terrible fucking shit. And that you need to perceive what is really going on in the world. But in order to do that, you need to be able to be willing to accept things that maybe you don't want to be true. You don't have to like them, but you do have to know how to not hate them, how to not crush them. And it starts with how you perceive and take in the world. And that if you have questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comment section below. Hit me up, SelfGen Podcast on X. We'll have conversations. We'll do a shared space. And if you don't like me, feel free to do the same thing because the algorithm, the models, they don't give a fuck. Just like us, they don't care about reality. They only care about engagement. Self-generated.